I wanted to try to convert to this Finky. Is Finky guy new here, or he's been coming? I haven't been here for months. I wanted to check what the current situation was, if the Earth was still flat or something had happened.
It's actually even flat. It's actually even flatter.
Yeah. Figures.
On Sunday, it's extremely flat.
And there's still no map, but that's just a minor detail.
There's tons of maps. You could drive over the United States. You could get maps at every gas station and put them all on a big flat floor.
Have you got a map that gets you to Australia?
Yeah, lots of maps.
Yeah,
And
and then
flat
nautical charts.
Well, the charts give
Yeah,
you headings, right? That's usually what
They
people
haven't-
do if they're on the water.
Those maps have a north and south on them, but there is no south in the flat Earth. So again, there's no flat Earth map still.
Isn't south every direction opposite of north?
How does that work on a compass? What's magnetic where there is one location for north and one location for south?
It works just fine. It's the opposite of north.
Well, not if it's everywhere around you. Or is that the opposite?
I can't see what's different.
I don't understand what you're trying to argue. You're trying to talk about compasses and set the South Pole or something, because compasses only point to the North Pole.
No, they don't. They point to the north and the south. You haven't noticed that there's an arrow on both ends of that needle?
Yeah, it's to indicate the opposite direction of the other direction.
And what would be the opposite direction of north? Where's that located? All around
south.
you? Well, where's south?
Well,
It's
wherever the
opposite of
needle
north.
points. See, the needle tells you where south is by pointing. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's a location, so it's not all the way around you.
Well, it's actually based on its direction towards north. So the needle
No.
always faces north.
No, it doesn't. It aligns with north to south.
Can you demonstrate different?
Yeah, it aligns to north and south. Why does it point north only on a flat Earth?
No,
Have you
it
ever
always
been to the
points north.
Pole? Have you circumnavigated the North Pole, like within 1 meter of the north, like the dot on the map, and just gone around it, like on a merry-go-round, to prove that it points to north?
I don't know, have you done that to the south to prove that it doesn't point south to this one location?
Well, I'm here in New Zealand. I'm pretty close to the south, and my compass just points opposite of north when it's pointing south.
Well, I'm in Australia, and my north points the opposite to south.
Now, you can easily determine how the compass is actually working if you get in a boat. Doesn't take very long either. So if you get in a boat and you just head either straight west, like a straight heading, right, west or east, you'll see that eventually you're going to start heading south.
Yeah.
Not if you're on the equator.
Have I seen like any evidence or a video of someone going around and around the North Pole to show how a compass works?
Why would I need to do that?
Like, because maybe the North Pole is just like a big ring, like Antarctica. Maybe the South is and the North are just the same.
Well, that would make them a globe then.
No, like maybe they're both just like a ring around you, like the opposite of each other.
So we live on a pair of glasses, like two eyes.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to the North Pole and gone around that North Pole and see that the compass is pointing to that pole as you go around it. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't been to the North Pole. Have you?
So how do you know there's a pole there? How do you know there's a North Pole?
Well, what is my compass pointing to?
So no,
Pointing
you
north
need to
and
go
south.
and find out. So you're just believing what people tell you.
I live in Australia. I can see what the fucking sky is doing. I see the sun's not going the right direction. I know the aeroplane flights don't match. We have a southern celestial pole. Like
You were
everything.
talking
Yeah,
about
right.
the poles, and now what? You're talking about the sky and airplanes and all that stuff. We're talking about the poles.
We'll stick to the compass and what makes the compass point
Stick
north.
to what you're talking about. Don't go off on some other shit
You
like the sky.
You want me to talk about a place I've never been to?
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
How do
you're the
you
one
know?
claiming to have knowledge of this
No.
shit.
I brought it back to where I do live because apparently, because I've not been there, I don't know what's happening there. So the only thing I can
You
talk about is
said-
where I live, isn't it? That's the only conclusion I
Yeah,
come
but-
to from what you guys just said to me.
Yeah, hang on, but you said that you know that the compass, the north, faces to the North Pole, and that's a best destination that you can go to, like a spot, like a geographic coordinate. But you don't have any evidence for that. You don't know. You've never been there. You said, and then you started relating it to the sky somehow.
We don't live in the Dark Ages. People have been to the North Pole.
People have been.
I haven't been
How
to
do you know?
America,
Have
but I
you
know
been
America exists, but I've never been there. But if I can't talk about places I haven't been to, well, then I'll just have to drop out of the convo.
Well, is it
Yeah, but
wise
this
to talk
is a
about
really
places that you
special
haven't
place.
been to? Hold on, as if you've been there.
You're talking about the South as if you've been here, and you haven't.
No, I'm not actually. I'm talking about how compasses work.
Yeah. And
That's
that
what we
it
were
only
talking
points to
about.
the north. But in the
Right.
South, it points to the South and the North.
And you can't prove that.
That's the extent of your
I get a
knowledge, though, isn't it? In
compass out.
reality, you only know that they're opposite of each other, but you don't know that one is a pole and one is a circle, or both are poles.
Oh, so now we've got a ring magnet at the South. So the South is a ring magnet now, is it? And the North is
Who
a
knows?
little
I mean,
dot.
you said you don't know.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. That's not how magnets work. There's a North
Wait,
and a
wait.
South on a magnet, which
Wait,
is
wait,
what a
but-
compass is.
Are you saying that your compass points south? Because I live in the south and mine just points north.
It has a needle. The bloody pin that holds the needle is in the middle of the needle. What do you think the other end is doing? Pointing nowhere.
Yeah, but the
Yeah, but
active.
when you move, when you're facing north and you go left and right, the other end of the needle moves in conjunction to the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, keep pointing south to that one place, that one location, just like it does in the north.
Wait, hold on. Are you under the
Why does it always point to one
that-
location? Why doesn't it
Yeah,
go all the way around me? Like, how
Are
would
you
that
under the
even work?
impression that the needle is also magnetized?
No, it aligns to the magnetic field around.
Right,
the
so
Earth.
it's not magnetized, right? So it is not pointing to a place. It is being attracted to a place.
Yes, same thing.
Right. Right. So it doesn't
Needle.
point to south, right? It's being attracted to north. That's the way it's
Yeah, and the
designed.
And the opposite side of that gives you a pinpoint
No,
location.
again, right, but it doesn't.
It does, right?
Because again,
Yeah,
like
but it
I
does.
said, so if
It
you
does.
get in a boat and you go east or west at a straight bearing, you eventually start going south, which means that the South Pole is not a fixed location.
It is a fixed location, and you can do that.
Incorrect.
It will work opposite
I
depending which
just
side of
disproved that.
the equator you're on.
It still does that all the way down, all the way from the North Pole, all the way down to wherever you're at. It aligns to the North Pole.
It aligns to the magnetic field around the Earth, which was north to south.
No, that's incorrect.
You forget about the south. It is correct. You don't have any reason for it to be doing this on a flat Earth. You've got no reason for there to be a magnetic attraction to the North Pole.
What? So if there's a
You're just
large
using Globe
magnet,
evidence and
so if
trying to
there's a
transfer it to
large
the Saturn, it doesn't
magnet
work.
in the middle of a flat disk, you're saying that's not a reason why something would be attracted to the middle of it?
Then
I'm
why
really
isn't
confused.
So
So
it
if
would be
there's a
stronger in the
magnet
north
in
than
the
it was in the
middle,
south.
yeah, so if there's a magnet in the middle of an LP record and things are attracted to the middle where that magnet is, I mean, that's pretty logical.
So you got a monomagnet now, just an attraction. No.
Well, again,
no.
so you can't prove that anything is being attracted to the south. Because
I'm saying
again,
it was
the
being
needle,
attracted to the south.
the
I said
needle
it
and the
aligns to the
company-
magnetic field around the outside. I didn't
right?
say anything
Because
about it being attracted.
right, but the compass isn't magnetized, so it's not pointing anywhere.
Yeah, but you've left yourself with a monomagnet now. You've got no south.
Can you have monomagnets? Can you put a single magnet
No.
on a refrigerator thing and stick it to your refrigerator? That's a monomagnet.
No, it's not. It's got a north on the other side of it. You know how magnets work. There's a north and south on every magnet.
Yeah, and the magnet has an opposing
That's called a
pole
flat-
on itself, right? It doesn't have an
It's a
opposing
flat
pole
earth
somewhere
magnet.
else. So a magnet, right, doesn't exist in two places at once. So when you have one magnet on the refrigerator, there isn't another magnet on another refrigerator somewhere being its opposite. It doesn't work like that. Magnets are singular objects. You know this,
Because-
right?
There's no magnet at the North Pole. It's a magnetic field around the Earth.
Around the Earth. What causes a magnetic field?
Don't know. Don't care.
A magnet.
No.
What do you mean? What else causes a magnetic field? Come on, please tell me. Icicles? Jellyfish? How about Donald Trump? Does he cause magnetic fields? Or
Electric-
Elvis?
There's a giant magnet at the North Pole. Go and say that, lad. You think there's a giant magnet at the North Pole?
You think there's a magnetic field without a magnet? Go on, say that again. You think there's a magnetic field without a magnet?
at the North Pole.
Seriously?
Magnet at the North Pole, monopole,
You think
monomagnet.
there's a magnetic field without a magnet?
Electric
Dunno.
currents moving create magnetic fields.
Oh, there you go. Electric current. What do you know? Not a giant
Well,
magnet at the North Pole.
Yeah, it would be impossible for a globe to have a magnetic field, anyways.
Now, so you're going to say that magnetic, or what is it, electrical fields or electrical flow causes magnet. So what's flowing through the North and South Pole? What is there like a battery? Yeah, so what's causing the magnetic charge then, if it isn't a magnet?
Well, I know one thing. It's like if I have my bed head facing the wrong direction. Have you ever heard of feng shui? Anyway, if I have my bed head facing the wrong direction in my room, I feel like I didn't have a very good sleep. So there is something to the cardinal directions, the way that you face your bed head, so obviously these north, south, east, and west, they are relevant to our existence, and they do affect us somehow. I'm not sure, how else to get into that topic of feng shui, if anyone knows about that.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what's causing this magnetic attraction in her paradigm.
I'm just trying to figure out what's causing it in your paradigm. I mean,
Well, I
can go
told
look
you
up
it's a
the Glob
magnet.
version of it. A giant magnet, a monomagnet.
There clearly
Doesn't look
seems to be
like one.
some kind of magnet. Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
apparent.
think as you got closer to a magnet, it would get stronger, and as you got away from it, it would be weaker? So why aren't things flying off the table in the north?
I mean, I don't know how big the
It's
magnet is. Do
magnetic.
you?
Well, it's making your needle on your compass move. So anything that's that light should be flying off your table towards the North Pole, shouldn't it? If there's a giant magnet there.
Look, I don't know
And
how
if
it
you've never-
works.
Never been to the. Oh, you're allowed to say you don't know how it works, but I can't. But
You haven't said
there
that.
is an actual theory.
You haven't
for
actually
how
said you don't know how it
on the
works.
road.
You're trying to claim that you do know how it works. That's the thing.
No, I know that it aligns
I'm
to
going
the
with what
magnet.
makes sense.
I know what the theory is.
And you're flip flopping
You don't
all
even
about
have
because
a
you don't
theory.
know where you live. Who needs a theory to be alive? What?
No, because there's no flat Earth map with Australia in the right
A
rotation.
map? Who needs a fucking
Yeah, a
map?
map.
Oh, you ain't got a
yeah,
map.
No, nobody
Guess
needs
what?
a
You ain't
treasure
got a
map
map
to find the
either.
treasure. We've seen
don't
lots
have a
of
map
pirates
either.
wandering around without a treasure map. Always find the treasure.
Where's your map?
It's the globe map.
Google.
It's the only one that
Google.
gets you to Australia and back.
Your Google Daddy gave it to you.
Don't know. Have you got one that works?
Every map's flat.
No, it's not. Oh, it's on a flat piece of paper. Ooh.
So
Yeah,
it's
probably-
weird, right? So you can't present us a map, but now you're asking us for a map. So why don't you give us your map
I can
first,
present
right?
your
And
map of the
then
globe.
prove to us that that's where we live, and
Right.
then
That's what we do.
we'll go
We
from there.
prove the globe.
So since you can't do that,
flat Earth.
what
Why
are you
don't
even
you
flapping your
prove
jaws
flat Earth?
for?
Why don't you
remember
prove the flat Earth?
my grandparents told me that they sailed to Singapore with no map. no guidance, no sextants, nothing. Just their eyeballs and the sun.
And the stars. And the stars and the sun. Yeah, because the sun doesn't rotate around the North Pole. You can see that in the south.
No, they said they just
Have you
had a good
noticed?
sleep at night. They didn't look at the stars. They just travelled in the daytime.
I'm below the Tropic of Capricorn, and I can see the sun heading towards the ice wall every day. So do you in New Zealand.
Wait, what's the
Explain that.
sun?
Oh,
Because that's a different topic entirely.
I don't know. Why don't you tell me what the sun is? Why don't you tell me what the sun is? And why
here it is. So right, see, so you don't know what it is. So you instantly try to ask me what it is because you don't know either.
I know what
you don't know what the sun is.
I know what the globe
you know what a theory is.
I know what the globe
someone
model
told you it is.
What does the flat Earth model say it is?
Models? Who's talking about models? I'm asking what you think
the flat Earth world
it is.
Say?
Who said anything about that? I'm asking you what
the
you
globe
think
model.
the sun is, because you're talking about the sun, its behavior, so you should know what it is.
Well, why don't you tell me, seeing it's doing magical things that don't work?
Yeah, see, so why don't you just say you have no idea what the sun is? It's real easy. I can say I don't know what the sun is.
Oh, I know what the
you know. But you don't know what it is.
My sentence.
You see?
You're too gutless to even answer what you fucking sun is flat Earth because you don't have an answer.
I just told you I don't know. I don't know what the sun is.
The Glob model
it's very easy. I don't know. I can look at it, but I have no idea. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? I know.
You know what I think it is? You're arguing against it without
tell me what you think
it
is? Why don't you tell me what you think it is from not someone else?
No,
because you can't do that.
Yes.
It's weird.
No, because you already know what it is. And I'm not getting sucked into the combo of defending flat Earth and attacking the globe.
Have you ever seen the moon?
Not spreading it. You're not giving.
Hey,
wait, hold on. You think asking questions is an attack? That's weird.
Dude, have you ever seen the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time?
How awful. Yes, perfect explained on the globe, as you. Or maybe you don't know because you don't understand the globe model.
At the same time?
Yes.
Have you ever?
So is everybody else. Always a daytime sun. Okay,
Yeah, but but have you rather than being opposing positions in the sky, like one behind you and one in front of you, have you seen them like side by side in the sky?
No, that's too bright.
Isn't that strange? Like,
wouldn't
you think that like you should be able to see the sun and the moon together in the sky, if you're facing the same way?
Don't you think it's strange? Stare at a car headlights, and the person gets out of the car, you can't see them.
Man, see how fast you ran away?
No, I didn't run away. It makes perfect. I don't know why you can't understand it.
Was that too confusing?
Yeah, you broke her head.
I'd like to ask you a question, Trouble, about if you are on a 10-mile wide lake on a shore, on the shoreline, and your friend is on the opposite shoreline, how many feet of curve does that globe model require across that 10 miles of water? Do you know?
No, don't know, don't care.
Take a guess. A couple inches, couple feet, couple 100 feet, 1,000 feet. It's just 10 miles. What do you think?
Whatever matches.
Just take a guess.
I've been a flat earther before. Flat Earth doesn't work in Australia. So I don't care about you.
Wait,
I know you can't find the horizon.
Wait, did you say you've been a flat earther? What is that? What?
Yeah, I used to be a flat earther until I got a P900.
What does that mean? You've been a flat earther, like it's some kind of club or something. What?
It is a delusional club of lack of information and misunderstanding.
But hold on, you don't know what the globe requires. You don't know how much curve it requires.
I just know the flat Earth model doesn't work and it matches the globe.
But you don't know what the globe model is. How many feet of curving drop does it require? Hold on, stop talking over me. How many feet of curving drop does it require across 5, 10, or 20 miles? Pick a distance and tell us.
I don't have the details.
So you don't even know the model you're defending?
What, you
That's
think I haven't looked
ridiculous.
into it? But just because I can't remember?
Why would you
Like,
be here
I can't-
defending something that you know nothing about? You don't know what you're defending.
Neither do you. That's
All
what's
she
true.
can do is
Yeah.
laugh.
I know everything about your model, guaranteed. Do you know the
I want to
radius,
know about
diameter,
your
or
model.
hold on? Hey, Trouble, how
That's
many?
what I said.
Do you know the
That's when I
radius,
came here
diameter?
and I said, don't talk about your
Trouble,
model.
stop talking
About
through me. Rich Trouble. What's the radius of the globe?
What's the radius of flat Earth?
So you don't know. Can I ask
Neither
you
do
what
you.
your hold
Oh my
on?
God,
You don't
I've
know the
never read
radius,
the flat
diameter.
Earth.
You don't hold on. You don't know how much it curves. Can I ask you what's your definition of the word science? What's it mean?
What's the radius of the flat Earth?
I don't know.
Oh wow, you don't even know your own model. Wow, you don't
I
even know
don't
the
have a
radius of the
model. I don't
flat
have
Earth.
a model.
Oh, you don't.
I am a globe skeptic.
Oh, okay, but that's no point talking because I want to know
Oh,
what
hold
your
on,
model is.
just one last question. What's
Oh,
your
dumb.
definition of the word science? What's it mean? What's
What the
the word
TV
science
tells
mean?
me.
Okay, so her refusal to answer says she doesn't know what the word science means. She doesn't know the radius, diameter, circumference of the globe model she defends, and she has no clue how much curve there's supposed to be. So
Yeah,
that's just absurd.
yeah. You have any of that for the
Blind
flat Earth
belief.
model that you defend?
I don't have a model. I don't have a model.
So you
Hey, lady, you should try listening. Clean your ears out. He said it like 3 times now. He doesn't have a model. He's a globe skeptic. Listen. Try that. Listen.
So he doesn't know what the Earth is. So he's not a flat Earther. Is that what you're saying? You don't think it's flat?
He just said he's a globe skeptic. Listen.
Or you
Listen. Write the words down if you have
any other
to.
model? You know, come up with
Idea
any.
is that he
You don't
can
know.
stillman. He can stillman the globe. He can stillman the globe. He just doesn't believe it.
I don't want to man the globe. I want to hear about flat Earth. About what it is. I mean, I live in the magic part of flat Earth. Don't forget. But you can't explain that magic to me, don't you?
Wait,
Yeah,
why do
but-
you want to hear about flat Earth? That's weird.
Well, you told me that you're sunny. So it must be
No,
something magic.
why do you want to hear about it?
For flat Earth.
Is this like some kind of coping mechanism?
Yeah, you're just triggered and acting out of control now. You know nothing of anything about the globe.
It's magical that the sun's up there, towing the Earth around with some magical gravity, right?
Yeah. Suppose you think I'm hanging upside down by magic too.
What happened when you got the
You're on the
Nikon?
top.
Because I think last time I talked to you, Travel, you were a flat earther. So what happened when you got the Nikon?
I feel the star south rotating around the
You're cutting
line.
off. You're cutting off.
Yeah, did you find curvature in motion? You found curvature in motion?
She said she saw the stars doing something.
I got over 7 star trails south, and I was all the stars rotate around.
You're cutting off. You're cutting off.
Yeah, hold on, Trouble. You were cutting out. I don't know.
You're cutting off. Try to maybe
reconnect,
or just give it a second. Try again.
Or the sound option here on Discord sometimes does that.
Is that any better?
Perfect.
You're good now.
I got the P900. I was working with Antonio Subarats, who wanted to know if the celestial pole was in the same place as the magnetic pole, to which I filmed it, and it's not. It's next to it, slightly next to it. And then I started just filming the sky, because I was told that all the stars rotated around Polaris, but they don't. The ones in the south don't. They have a rotation point around Sigma Octantis.
Yeah, I remember you had a. I'm from the south as well. I'm from Uruguay, so I clearly remember you having a problem with many flat Earth things not working on the south. And I told you back then that it was obvious that there's more people. This movement is like a mostly northern people's movement, so it's obvious that we would have less information. and the lies and stuff are on the south, so it's obvious that our part of the world will be filled with incongruencies. You never got past that, right?
But we have enough information to show that flat Earth doesn't work.
Yeah, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to fit your observations to a model, and no one is claiming a model. The only model that's being claimed is the Glob model.
Well, I'm giving you a model because you do have a model. Polaris is in the middle, North Pole's above it. I mean, the
No,
other
I
way
don't have a
around.
model. How
And
can listen?
therefore,
How can I
the
know
south must
where
be
I
big.
live?
Because you're just telling me that there's no south on a compass. So I know your model. I know that you don't like to admit to it because you know it doesn't work, so you won't defend it. Right?
No, I
But you
told
don't
you how
realise
compasses work.
But there's only a north on the compass. Because you got to make it fit for a flat Earth.
No, I don't have to
Right?
make anything fit. I'm telling you how compasses actually work.
But you're wrong. That's not how they work. They're not attracted to something at the North Pole. They align to the magnetic field around the Earth. So fit
No,
that into your
'cause
model.
okay, so what causes the magnetic field?
I don't know, the rotation of the Earth or whatever he said about electrics or something. I don't fucking
The
know.
Earth isn't rotating, so
I
no.
don't remember.
Well, hold on.
I'm not a fucking expert on this shit.
Can I just say one thing? I don't think he said that the compass pointing to the north means that there's one North Pole, unless BB, unless you were saying that. But the thing is, if you take like a bar magnet on and you put it on a table and you put a compass next to it, the needle will point to the north side of that bar magnet.
Or if you flip it over and put the negative end of the magnet near the compass, it will then move away from it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying on a two-pole magnet, the compass will only point to the north because it's aligning with the field lines. So I don't know that he said that it was just because it was pointing to the north that necessarily means that it's like that he's asserting that it's like singular North Pole with like a ring around the outside. I mean, he could clarify, but
Well, where is south?
What is south?
So if you're going to have a pole magnet at the north, now you've got north and south at the north.
No. What is south?
There's no ring of south around the outside.
What is south?
I'm not claiming it
I don't
was.
know.
It just seems like you were assuming that he was thinking that. So I was just jumping in to try to. I mean, at least from what I heard, he didn't say that. So just.
Okay.
And I'm just saying a two-pole compass will point one direction. The needle will align with the field lines.
The field lines around the Earth, not the field lines coming from the North Pole. Remember, a magnetic field goes around the magnet.
Yeah, I mean, trouble. I just the term flat Earth is kind of a generalized term, but not everybody that thinks the Earth is stationary and planar thinks that it is like the Gleason's map. So it could be a straw man if you're just going to assume when you use the term flat Earth that everybody is like asserting that it is like a Gleason's map. I mean, some people don't assert a map or any particular model because they're just intellectually honest. They know that they haven't mapped the entire Earth, so they're not going to assert something they haven't mapped themselves in some cases, and they're not going to just jump on claims from governments and authorities that claim that they've,
You don't think
out.
it's because every flat Earth map has been disproven?
But that's not a flat Earth map, is what I'm saying. The term flat Earth is a generalized term. Just because some people associate it with that Gleason's map, again, I'm just telling you, does not mean that everybody thinks this. The term flat Earth is not synonymously associated only with that Gleason's map. So
No, you're right. There's the people who think that Earth's at the middle and everything rotates around us, and they think that it's a globe. But these guys don't think it's a globe. They think it's flat. But they don't want to be known as flat earthers.
Well, I mean, the thing is, humans have always had a planar, stationary understanding of the world until the globe came along and said its thing. So, I mean, you don't really have to be a flat earther. You just have to be a human who doesn't think it's a globe. Because every other
really
human,
true?
every other human
Is
that's
that
ever
really true?
yeah, as far as
Because
we
Well,
know.
yeah.
as soon as they saw that
So
there was
why
a
do you want to
south,
label people? Why do you want to label
as soon as
people?
they saw in the south that there's a rotation in the sky, and they saw what the sun was doing, do you really think they stayed flat earthers? Like once you
What
include
does
the
the
south,
sky
that's
have to
all.
do with the ground? Like I've been asking this since like 2015. What in the fuck does the sky have to do with the ground?
So you're one of the ones that says you don't
Absolutely
look up.
fucking nothing.
Don't look
Well-
up because it disproves flat Earth. Nice
No.
try.
So the ground, right, is a level plane. Okay. The
Why are you
sky
looking
is
towards
its
the
own
horizon then?
thing. So the sky moves separately of the ground. So clearly they're not attached.
So what's the horizon? Isn't that the sky versus the ground where they meet? Oh,
The
you
sky
fish, you
versus the
better-
ground.
you better
That's the
stop using
stupidest
that as-
shit I've
as-
ever heard in my life. What? Where the sky
horizon.
versus the ground.
where it meets the
So it's
ground.
at your feet. So right at your feet is the horizon, where the sky meets the
Listen to
ground.
me.
Right at your feet. Listen to yourself. Where the sky
So
meets the
what is the
ground is the
horizon?
horizon. So it's right at your feet. Look down. That's the horizon.
Where is
Are
the
you in the
horizon on
sky?
flat Earth?
Are you in the sky? And
What?
then are you on the ground? There you go.
Why don't you give me a definition of what the horizon is?
Why are you asking me? I'll just claim I don't know all day long. Look, I have no problem saying I don't know.
So the horizon's not the apparent where the apparent meeting of the sky meets the ground.
Well, sure, that's right
You're
at your
gonna say
feet
that's
then,
not
right? Because
true?
apparently that's where the sky meets the ground, right?
Is the horizon at your feet, is it?
According to your definition,
No, it's not what I said.
where the sky meets the ground.
Yeah, when you look out, you see the sky meeting the ground. That's what we call the horizon. But you can't
So
use
that's
the sky
everywhere.
because
That's at your feet.
because-
That's at your
Yeah.
feet. Remember, because
Why are you
someone
using
at a
the
distance
sky?
can look at you and see the horizon. So the horizon is everywhere for you.
you're just gobbledygook. You know that, right?
Are you having trouble winning?
Are you having trouble keeping up?
So what did you actually? I mean, what sold you again to the globe Earth was getting the Nikon and seeing that the stars were revolving around Sigma Octantis instead of Polaris. That's
Yeah, so knowing that you can't have two rotation points under a dome isn't going to work geometrically. Unless
Do you even
got
know what the
some
sky
magic
is? Do you know what the
geometric
sun
pattern.
and stars are? So see, this is the thing, right? So you have no idea what these things are, but you propose to know how they should be operating. Brilliant.
You got now the geometric pattern that works? It's not fucking hard.
Have
See
you
two
seen-
rotations in the sky.
I'm sorry. What is the sky? What are this? What's the sun? What's the moon? What are the stars? Can you tell me exactly?
I'm talking about the movement. Let's make them frozen ghost parts.
Okay.
The
So
movement of the frozen ghost
okay.
parts doesn't match what you would see on a flat Earth.
okay. Have you seen? Have
Okay.
you seen,
Wait. So how do frozen ghost farts behave?
They
You don't know.
because the Earth is spinning underneath
So if
them.
you don't
they make
know,
these
how
two
can you
rotation
know how they
patterns.
should be behaving?
Because on the globe,
Because
because on a globe
Oh,
it
my
works. It's
word.
explained and it matches
because
what
on
we
the
see.
globe, you gave an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't. What's your reason for it?
I don't have excuses.
Ah, so you don't know. So
Because
shut up. This
is
isn't the
an
topic you should be
excuse.
talking about. Then shut up because you don't have an
it's
answer.
excuse.
You don't have.
I already
the
told
fucking
you I don't know.
explanation.
I'm trying to
Then
figure
shut up.
out what's going on in your deluded head.
Shut up and let other people
Why
fucking
you
explain
think
it.
that
Then.
the frozen ghost farts are determining that you live on a ball?
Because of the pattern they make.
And how are they supposed to operate?
Put yourself inside a ball, roll yourself down a hill, look out your left hand, look out your right hand, you'll see a rotation center point. Call one Polaris, call the other one Sigma Octantis. Matches what we fucking see. Let
Okay, so you're just saying that, and then that equates that we live on a ball, right? That doesn't
you
make
got
any
a
sense at all.
geometric explanation for it?
An explanation for what? The sky?
Yeah, for two rotation points in the sky.
Look, I haven't claimed. Listen, I haven't claimed that it's
I know,
frozen
and that's why I'm
ghost
telling you to
farts.
shut up
Okay?
because you're useless.
right.
You're useless.
No,
Who are
actually,
you? What's
you're
your name?
useless because you're the
All right.
one claiming
I'm
to
talking
know
to you anymore.
things that you
Hey,
can't
wait,
figure
wait.
out.
Wait. Have you seen John Hamby's model? It doesn't convince you? Trouble?
Well, which one's he?
John Hamby, the one who has a model that explains some stuff. It's crude, but
No. Yes,
nerd.
some stuff, but and then the other stuff, we just ignore that. I mean, because I live in the south. Don't forget. So it's not.
I live in the
just
south
one.
too.
Yeah, so?
Wow, and you're deluded. Fuck, that's amazing.
All right, let's try to
Don't
lay out
look
more
up. Don't
personal.
look up because you
All right.
might
Well, no,
find reality if you look up.
see that just shows that she will always lose to me.
You don't have anything to say. You've
Because
got
the best
no
you can do is
explanation
call me
for anything.
names.
I didn't even call you a name.
All right, well, let's maybe just like reset. So, Trouble, about what why do you think there can't be, so like if you have the North Pole with Polaris and the stars and the Big Dipper and all that stuff, and from the idea of flat stationary Earth, as it were, you could go to different parts around that North Pole and you can look at it and so on. Now, if that's already existing there, why can't there be a second one in the South?
Because that would make it a globe. Because they're not side by side.
No, what I'm asking is that if there's already the one in the north, and that can be flat, and then there's the straight line at the equator, and then you go south, there's another rotation. Why can't that second one also be flat, just like the first one is?
Well, what are they side by side? Like, why is there a line on the equator? Why do you have straight lines on the celestial equator? They shouldn't happen on a flat Earth. They should all be going around the North Pole.
Well, so you keep saying a flat Earth as if like a Gleason's AE map is the only thing that's associated with the term flat Earth.
Well,
and
now
I was
you're gonna-
saying earlier, that's not the case.
Now you're going to have like two boobs side by side. There's going to be a gap in the sky where nothing happens. No one has ever filmed that. That gap of nothingness where these two circles sit side by side.
Well, I mean, an electric field is precisely that. It has the two rotations, and then that straightens out, like this image I'm putting in the chat, which is actually.
I've seen it 1,000 times, and I've told you it doesn't match what we see. There's no flattening out in the sky. They are perfect circles, and they meet all the way around on the celestial equator. There's no gap between them. There's no separation zone, no conversion zone. We spent years looking for them.
Yeah, but you don't even know what you're looking at.
Neither do you. I'm looking at the movement.
But I'm not claiming anything based on the sky. You are.
I'm looking at lights in the sky moving or
Yeah,
appearing
me
to
too.
move.
And then you're
Well,
the one
either I'm
claiming that
moving-
it's saying something. You're like, oh,
Either
look,
I'm-
I'm looking at the skies and I'm reading the stars and this is where we live.
Nobody disputes the fact that if you look at the sky, you've either got to come to the conclusion that the sky's moving or you're moving. One or the other. They're the
I
only
mean,
two
clearly the
options you
sky's
fucking have.
moving.
So now you want the sky to be magic. Is that your answer? So that's an answer I have to
Did I,
have to
did
go
I
to my
say that
friend
I
and say,
want it to be
guess what, our
magic? I've
sky's
simply
magic.
only asked you
no
what
one
it
can
is.
explain what it's doing, but don't worry about that. It's not important because we live in the south. So long as the north has got their shit worked out, don't worry about the south.
You see, that's the vibe. You still have the same vibe. Months and months pass by, and it's like, man, you have you were
Right.
left behind. You were left behind. We in the
Left behind. Yeah, she's really angry.
Yeah, she's angry because we were left behind. You know, it's like everything is explained in the north, but in the south, poor us.
Yeah, exactly. We'll make the stars rotate around us. And then you guys can have the fucking problem. The south can just live happily ever after like you are. And you
Wait,
can all
really? So
do whatever
you're
the fuck you
upset
want.
because you're confused. I get it.
No, I'm not confused.
Yeah, you are.
I want to be the center of
Because you have
attention.
no
like
idea where
guys
you
are.
live.
On a flat Earth, no. On the globe, I know exactly where I am. 'Cause
No.
you can only get to Australia by aeroplane, and if you don't have a fucking working map, guess where you're not going to get to?
Wait, you
An
can't get there
island
by
in the middle-
boat?
in the middle of the ocean. Well, what about aeroplanes?
Boats
How
don't
the
go
fuck
to
did they get
Australia?
here?
How'd they get
How
there
do
in the first
aeroplanes
place?
get here?
How did boats
How do
get there?
aeroplanes get here?
How did
How
boats
do
get there?
aeroplanes get here?
Good Lord. You're
Answer
intolerable.
my
You're probably
question
single,
first.
aren't you?
You're intolerable. You can't even answer my question. You
I
just
knew it. You
answer-
are single.
Ask another question. I know
You're
fucking
refusing
single.
to
You wouldn't be
answer
on here.
questions yourself. I ask you what the definition of the word science is, and you won't tell me.
And that's
so-
why she's single.
What does the word science mean?
Being single isn't an insult, you moron.
Trouble. What's the word science mean? Definition. Go.
Don't know, don't care. I'm just a normal person. For fuck's sake. I'm
Don't
not a
know.
scientist.
Don't care what the word science mean. You don't know the radius, diameter, circumference of the globe. You don't know how much it's supposed to curve. You're wasting
And
our
don't even know
time.
that about
actually,
flat
from a
Earth.
woman's perspective, being
hypocrite.
single is an insult.
You're a hypocrite. You don't even know that about what you think the Earth is. Fuck off.
I don't know. Oh,
I want to know why
trigger.
we live on a flat Earth, but you guys don't want to even talk
Well,
about
what
that.
made you a flat
It's
earther in the
fine.
first place?
Not understanding where the fucking anything about the globe.
You don't even know how much it's supposed to curve. So why would you know you're on a globe, Ma?
You don't even know where I live. You can't even find it on a fucking map because apparently no
All
map
maps are
exists.
flat. Nobody uses navigation spheres, okay? Navigation globes. They're using flat maps.
Oh, because they put a round map on a flat piece of paper.
No, they didn't. They put a flat Earth on a flat map. That's what they did.
Well, then why don't you have a map? Why don't you show me the map
Every
that they
map
did?
is flat.
It's not. It's
They're
a
all maps.
globe.
They're all maps of a flat Earth.
They're all, and they say on them that they're taken from a globe.
No, they don't.
You know that.
I could put
Oh
10
God,
pictures of 10 different maps and
why
none
are
of
you
them will say
arguing
this
like
is
a
from a
beginner?
globe.
Why are you arguing like a beginner flurf? Seriously.
Why are you resorting to insults and cursing? You seem
Oh,
triggered.
he's trying to insult me, but like being single wasn't an insult. Yes, it is. Being insult's not
You don't know what
single's not.
science means. You don't know any of the
You
world's
insult
dimensions.
me
You
and
don't
you
know
find
anything. You
that.
don't know what the magnetic field's
I don't
from.
need to know what science is to work out the shape of the Earth, for fuck's sake. You think science owns the shape of the Earth? You think NASA was the first ones to work out the shape of the Earth? You fucking got tickets, you guys in the North.
I'm in the South.
Well, I'm not
Right.
sure where water starts to curve. Is it in the south? Because we sure can't find it in the north.
Yeah,
Where
I
are you
saw it
at?
in South
How
Africa.
much does a light bend for Polaris to be making a rotation here in the South? We've got bendy light now.
I have no clue,
Bendy
and neither
light,
do you.
bendy
That's the
water.
whole. That's why we don't
Bendy
use it
light.
as proof of the shape of the floor. Please don't overtalk me. I want to overtalk you, fair.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So water curving would be the basis of any sphere model, right? Not the sky. And I don't know why we always talk to the sky. It's interesting. I like it. It's pretty. I look at it like I woke up early, see meteors this morning. I like it. I took the sunrise and all that. But would never use it as the proof of the water I'm looking over to curve or not. You seem to be hung
But I'm
up
not
on the
looking
sky,
at.
which a lot of them are. I'll go on mute when I'm done. And but I wonder why you don't take the P900. Like when you take your P900 and look too far, like see things that you shouldn't see, should be over the curve Earth. Do you say, oh well, I got to work that out? If you use refraction, then why wouldn't you use that unknown factor to factor in the unphysicality of the sky curving or rotating in a certain way? And then why wouldn't you use your P900 to prove or disprove if the water is curving?
Honestly, it was too complex, and it did actually just prove that there was curvature because the windmills that I was filming went over the curve, and I had to go back up the hill to bring the bottom of them up. But people want to know your
Hey,
location,
share
how
those
high you are
pictures.
off the ground, and I just found it too hard to get all that information, so I didn't.
Please put
I
those
tried
windmill
to fix it.
Sky
pictures
is
in the
easy.
comments, okay? Put those windmill pictures in the comments or else it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Do
I
you want me to
believe
get
that
the
that's
film?
what
I
she
actually
saw.
filmed it.
Yeah, I can believe you that that's what you saw because I have thousands of those myself, but I also have proof of myself and other like people who call themselves globers think they live on a sphere getting, a building or something that's above the horizon or above the crosshair, which proves that it would just be an optical phenomenon. You'd have to measure the water curving. And I'm just wondering, I've never been to Australia. I've only been Fiji is the closest I've gotten. I didn't measure water while I was there in Fiji. I was actually a glober at the time. But I'm wondering if that's where the water starts to curve because in the north, where the water doesn't curve, it would be impossible to be a sphere if the water doesn't curve.
Like I said, I didn't go into that stuff in great detail.
There you go.
I
Good
had
luck.
enough with I had enough with the sun being cut in half on the horizon. That was always a huge problem back then, and the version of the explanation I don't think cuts it. Still, the
It's
one that
not
they've
always
come up
cut in
with
half.
today.
It's not always
It
cut
is
in
a
half.
step. Well, it slowly goes down. And it gets if you got a good camera, it goes out. It goes wobbly.
No, I got the same camera you do, so I assume you would say it's good. And then I have video of the sun not getting cut in half in many sunrises and sunsets.
And
Now,
what
this
just going to a
morning,
small dot in the distance and slowly fading out.
yeah, at sea level, actually. Most of them are done at like high altitude in the mountains or a colder, crisper situation. Mine's actually at sea level, which is the only one that I know of, but I would agree this morning's sunrise was a sun that appeared to be half cut off by the horizon or whatever, which is not a physical location, as you know, because you were just given the definition of it. It's just how we see into the distance, that point. So beyond that, it might appear that you would have bottom up obstruction. We call it miraging or optical illusions because it's not actually what's happening to that apparent position of the sun. But anyway, getting back to water curving, because we went to the sky again for some reason. The unknown versus the physical known non-curving water besides raindrops and waves. But I think you're past those arguments of 10 years ago. Anyway, I'll give you something to think about. That's it. Have a good night.
Hey, Trouble, can you see images in the side chat?
I guess so.
I tagged you in an image of the sun supposedly cut in half. Can you see that?
Yep.
So the pictures above it is a high altitude moon setting. That seems to match exactly what the sun is doing when it sets.
But what do you mean squashing down? Yeah, it goes out of shape.
Right, and you
Where's
can
it?
see that at the
Where's
bottom. And if you look at the corners of the sun, and this is what you see in most pictures, it's doing that unless there's like waves or
but
something else in the way.
where's the moon actually as it disappears more?
Hold on,
Where's
I'll
it
put
getting
another
smaller
picture.
and smaller, and it goes into like a tiny dot instead of slowly going down on the horizon? Like, it's pretty much doing the same thing. It should be getting smaller and smaller as it goes away from you. And then there's the other thing of Australia. Why is the sun setting south of
Hold on.
south of
So
me
Dylan,
when I'm below the Tropic of Capricorn? This
there's what the moon's doing. You see how it just kind of, I don't know, kind of looks like it's almost just turns red or something. Do you see that? The time lapse of the moon setting? It doesn't need to get smaller to disappear.
that looks like it's coming through clouds. Because there's a big black line. There's two lines going
It's
through it.
not. It's not through clouds. It's it's a NASA released image that they said was from the ISS.
Oh, fuck's sake. That's not from Earth then, is it? It's nothing can't compare it with the photos I see from here on Earth. That's like comparing apples and oranges.
But it's a moon setting that basically looks identical to the sun setting.
Oh, it's out in space, and I don't have eyes out in space. They're not the photos it's not the sunset I'm looking at, or the moon set.
So what's going on? Do you think with that moon image, the first ones of those with the moon
No idea.
squashing into the sun? Well, it's identical to what the sun does. So there you go. You don't need a
No
globe
idea.
for sun and moon to set.
Oh, so NASA says Earth's flat, does it? I'm sure they've
Hostile
got an
witness.
explanation
No,
for it.
no, no. That's a straw man.
What's their
I never said that.
explanation?
NASA never said Earth was flat. Don't be
Well,
dishonest.
so that picture's not showing the Earth's flat. They've shown it because they're showing something else, and I
You
presume they
ma-
said what it was, and you're just
you
not telling
mentioned
me
that the
what it is.
sun cuts in half, and it doesn't. It just seems to compress into the horizon, just like that moon setting I'm showing you.
I said on Earth, when the sun sets, it cuts in half. You showed me
It
something
doesn't cut
happening
in
in
half.
space.
Look at that sun. Look at that sun. It's not cutting in half. It's compressing into the horizon, just like the moon.
It's space. It's not on Earth. It's not the sunsets I'm looking at. So great, the sun doesn't set in space. Whoopee.
I think the point being, if you're on Earth, that it makes it worse because you're looking through that more dense layer at ground level, which would distort images. I'm posting many of them, and it would make them look like a mushroom, like a keyhole. Sometimes it would be cut in half. Sometimes it would fade out. Like, you know, that's what we're talking about. So the density layer at ground level does cause these effects.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Doesn't have to be a physical blockage for bottom up obstruction to happen. Mirages happen, 8 miles away, or I can show you a optical illusion that can happen on your countertop, 2 feet away. So, I don't
So
know
the
how
horizon
that
isn't a
would be.
great place to prove it the shape either way, then, by the sounds of it.
No, I don't think it is at all. I think measuring water, now let this sink in again because this is where my baseline is. So you don't have to ask me those questions about the sky anymore, about proof, because I believe that's the most ridiculous place to go for proof of the ground, actually. I think you would have to
I think it's a
measure
great
the
place to go
water curving. Yeah, I think you would have to
proof.
measure. Yeah, I think you would have to measure the water curving, right, to prove that you live on a sphere. And I'm fine with that if we do. So it should be posted right now.
Well, that's not a topic I get into because there's other people that have done that.
Yeah, I agree
And I
with
believe
you.
I saw the ones where they did he had like 3 measuring vials and then got further away and you could see that the horizon was dropping. Plus, I've seen
No,
Toon's evidence.
horizon drop. No, horizon drop is just talking about the sky again. Drop of the horizon sometimes, because it doesn't always do that, can show you proof even by globers that it doesn't, is not earth curve. Earth curve would be water curving underneath a horizontal plane that you established. So when you
All
extend the
right, so
straight line segment over water and measure the water curving, then that's what makes a sphere.
okay, great. So if I agree with you, you guys have proven all this stuff. Earth's flat. Now where's Australia? Why is the sun setting the wrong direction?
South of
Why have I
me,
got stars in
not
my
under
sky
me.
that aren't doing what they should be doing? Like,
Yeah,
all right,
no.
fine, I'll agree with you.
What is the
Yeah,
sun?
just
What's the structure of the sky? Why?
I don't
Maybe the
know.
back to the
firmament.
sky.
Maybe the firmament is doing something weird. I mean, that's why I asked you about John Hanvey. John Hanvey's model explains why the sun sets where it sets. For instance,
Not with the
some of the
stars in the
questions,
sky not with
some
the
of the,
stars in the sky at the same time, and
some of the
not with the
questions,
land underneath it.
some of the questions that you have are answered. So that's it seems to me that your problem is with the sky, and we don't live in the sky. We don't know what's in the sky. We don't know the
We live
structure, the
under the
shape.
sky. We can
Yeah.
see what it's doing. We can see its movement.
Yeah, but you don't know what it is. Maybe there's a big
We've got,
lens. Maybe there's a big lens in there, and what you see, you cannot interpret what you see because you don't have the whole information. You think they're just balls moving around, but they're not just balls moving around. There's more to it, and you don't have the whole information. That's it.
but you've never been able to make a sky with the stars doing what we see them doing using lights and geometric patterns, or even just drawing it. And for the sun to be going the wrong way, that means that I'm seeing a fake sun. There's 2 suns in the sky now on his model. Because
Maybe
I'm seeing an illusion of a sun that I
maybe
can
the
feel
first
heat.
sun.
I can feel heat coming from the sun, even though
Maybe
it's
the
just a
first
fake
sun is an
light in
illusion.
the sky.
Maybe the first sun is also an illusion. Maybe they're both illusions. Maybe there's only one illusion.
Nobody's ever seen 2 suns in the sky. For the 24-hour sun in the fucking South Pole, there has to be bloody a second sun in the sky.
No, there hasn't.
Like, How is that world not more magical to you than the globe?
The world is the world is magical.
She's
I think
kind
the
of
world is
right.
very magical.
She's kind of right if you're talking about the AE map. She keeps just assuming everybody thinks it's an AE map. So I don't know if that's what anyone else even said, but nonetheless, she keeps going off that. But she is kind of right that for a 24-hour sun to happen in the south, you would have to either have like two suns or some kind of like a reflection, which you'd have two GPs. That's why the dual pole is the only thing that works with the sky in terms of the ground. Or a globe. Dual pole planar Earth or a globe is the only thing that actually really works with the sky. The AE map really doesn't.
The sky doesn't match a dual pole. Like I said, there's no separation and convergence zone because the equator is where all the planets travel. So now we've got them Pac-Manning from one side of the sky to the other on a dual pole.
That's your assertion? You think they're
Well, you
Pac-Man?
see the straight line. You said to me there's a straight line in the middle, so that's got to be going from one side to the other. It's a straight line in between the two rotation circles.
Yeah,
Where else is it going? Otherwise, it's got to bend. It can't be a straight line.
No, they rotate around the north or the south. Yeah, I'm not saying there's any Pac-Manning occurring. What'd you say?
But how could there not be? Otherwise, it won't match what we see.
If you're looking in the chat, I'm going to post this real quick. It shows, they call this the electric Coriolis effect, although that might have just been what somebody put on the YouTube channel. I don't know if that's an official name. You see the two rotations over flat water, and there's no Pac-Manning. No Pac-Manning at all. So you just have two rotations. No Pac-Manning. Those little pieces of pepper or little iron filing things, they're not Pac-Manning anywhere. And you have two rotations on flat water.
It doesn't match what we see. You've got bits going nowhere in the middle, at the top and the bottom.
Well, actually, it does match. Well, that's just a little demonstration with little things in water, but the electric field with the two poles and the straight line of the equator is exactly what we see in the sky.
It's not. The bits around the outside are doing all weird shit.
What?
Where's the straight line in those two rotations?
I mean, this is a picture of the stars at the equator. And when you
but in
compare
those filings, there's no straight line. There should be a straight line. You even said there was a straight line.
Make it bigger.
That's why I said it doesn't match.
No, they are going straight if you zoom in, but I mean, it's kind of that is just to show the effect. Obviously, those things are like kind of floating around or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, I just posted a Ferrocell. I mean, this is a universal pattern in nature.
That again, you got a straight line going in the middle.
Yeah, it's exactly how
which means Pac-Man. It means Pac-Man.
Nope, absolutely not. What happens is it either goes to the one or the other. So it either goes to the north or to the south. Nothing is actually going straight. They're just
but on the celestial equator, there is a straight line on our celestial equator.
Nope. If you look at the image of the stars I posted at 31 after, that's a shot of the stars trails at the equator, and you'll notice that they converge and diverge. So it's not just going dead straight. You see the convergence and divergence at the equator every time you're there.
That's because you've got a wide-angle lens that you've squashed.
Nope. You can observe stars at the equator. It doesn't have to do with the lens. They visually converge and diverge.
They don't.
How it
they
would
keep
work.
the same distance from each other the whole way round. You've got them going further apart and closer together. They don't. They stay the same distance from each other the whole way round. You know that.
Okay, that is false, and you can't say anything that I know. It's a very manipulative, strange way to speak. But
because
I know that you know that.
Wait, Matthew says he's agreeing with me. So here's another shot of the
No,
stars of the
not with
equator.
her. Sorry, with her. So no, we've never seen any constellations bend and morph in the sky. They never do. They're rock solid from when they rise to when they set.
Well, I didn't say anything was bending or morphing.
That the image you posted implies that based on the wide-angle lens. You can see the stars are getting closer together and then farther apart in the middle of the picture.
Yeah, the stars converge and diverge at the equator.
In
They
a
don't.
wide-angle picture, they don't do that in reality. If you go outside and look, they stay exactly the same. Orion's belt never gets closer or farther apart.
Well, I didn't say
And
it would.
Orion felt you should. Your pictures insinuated. And you're saying that this matches exactly, and that's why I'm saying it doesn't.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm saying the angular distance between any two stars never changes. We see it rock solid, the same exact angular distance. No two stars have ever converged or diverged. Yeah, like Finky posted.
Yeah, well, I was talking about also on the massive scale of two massive fields. Like when I was talking about originally, like this, for example, like this ferrocell. If you're anywhere in that middle band of that ferrocell, they're going to look straight. So the converging and diverging on the larger field would happen. There would have to be a spot east or west of the equator where the stars would basically split, if that's the case, if you could get there, or if you could actually see that.
So have you, do you think anybody's ever observed this? Like two stars were a little bit
Google
closer
has.
together, then it started going farther apart at some point?
Whoever wrote Google has, because I asked the exact question: do stars diverge and converge? The initial answer is yes, and they give the reasons why. I'm not sure who you are, but
Is that because
that's
they were
another
using a
source that's
wide-angle lens?
disagreeing with you.
Is that because they were using a wide-angle lens?
I mean, I can't speak for Google. I just typed in "do
You just did.
stars diverge and converge?" You can see my type in, and the answer is yes. And they go on to give reasons why. To be honest, I didn't read it. I only need to see yes to know that they're a different source that's not agreeing with you for whatever reason.
On a wide-angle lens. Yeah, we're giving you the reason.
They
You
don't
won't give us
mention
one.
anything about a wide angle lens, to be fair to you and to Google.
So
I
what
didn't type
reason are they
in.
giving?
You can
Over
read it. I
long,
posted it
yeah.
for
So
you.
AI responds that over long time periods, due to gravitational effects, some stars move in relation to each other. But I'm talking about within the space of a single 24-hour day, we don't see any convergence and divergence. We're talking about the rotation of stars within a day, for example.
Like,
Well, I mean, Matthew, I mean, you can stand at the equator. Yeah, I mean, they just absolutely do, bro. Like, not right on the equator, but north and south of the equator, they absolutely do. Because when you're on the equator, the stars over you look as though they're going straight. But when you look north, you see a massive rotation, or you'll see half the rotation of the stars all rotating around the North Pole. And then when you look south, you see a massive half of a rotation, too. So it's sort of like two rainbows, basically. Well, rainbow shapes of stars, basically, looking north and south. So for the stars to go from straight to over your head to rotating in massive circles, of course they have to diverge.
No, they could be on a circular, spherical celestial sphere, and you can verify this by noticing that the angular distance between any two stars has never changed.
Nobody
throughout
said
the
the
space
angular
it's going
distance
further.
changed. Yeah, nobody's
Yeah,
saying
good.
the
Divergence and convergence is angular distance changing. That's what
That's
you're
not
telling
what
me.
I'm referring to. No, you're conflating something different. Just
What
because
do you
they
mean by that?
just because they appear to converge and diverge does not mean that the individual stars are separating from each other. You're conflating those two things. At least I'm not saying that. If someone else wanted to say that, that's their choice. But you could have a massive
What are you saying?
you could have a
Yeah.
massive field of stars. The stars are all staying where they are, but if they're moving in two rotations, then they're going to appear to they have to diverge to go off to their two rotations. The north and the south rotation has to stop from going straight to making two massive rotations on a globe or a dual pole planar Earth or really anything that has that structure. I'm trying to look at it. You know that one, the animation. If someone has it, the one, the globe animation thing that kind of shows like close and local stars on a globe, and it shows the northern rotation that goes to the southern, then it shows the equator. You can see them converge and diverge in that. What I just posted here kind of shows it, but like if you look at the middle one of the equator, yeah, that straight line going over your head is going to be going straight. But all of those stars go. That's not really the best because it doesn't show the stars, but the stars are going to end up rotating, so they have to diverge for it to even do that. And
Yeah,
that's what
so
it
I agree with
too.
the images you posted at 39 past the hour, and I can imagine if there are stars on that sort of transparent celestial sphere, that as they rotate, they would indeed be rotating different directions from different viewpoints. But the question then is, why don't they diverge or converge? And the answer is, well, because they're on that celestial sphere.
Yeah, I know. I think we're like using the words converge and diverge differently. Like I'm not saying the actual stars in the sky, like their GPs on the ground would like separate, like if you were to track their GPs. I'm not saying that they're actually doing that, but there's two rotations, and so it has to transition from straight to a rotation in the north or south, making circles. It has to go from straight to circles. So if it has to go from straight to circles, you're going to get that convergence to divergence effect because it has to go from being straight to being two circles.
Well, so what if we have two stars that are far apart from each other? One's kind of in the northern circle, one's kind of in the southern circle. Then in that case, you would have a point where those two stars become closer as they converge and become farther as they diverge, right?
You're saying on like a dual pole flat type of thing where you would have this field above you, like at
Yeah,
the great extent,
if you're
like the
whatever
far.
you mean by converge and diverge, at some point it has to mean that there's two stars that get closer and farther apart.
Yeah, if you're talking about what would happen, like if you have this dual pole structure above a planar surface, like what would happen all the way to the east or all the way to the west, yeah, there would have to. I mean, unless we can't get to it or there's some other phenomenon occurring, but yeah, I mean that there would have to be a place in which is that what you're talking about, like on the far east or the far west, where it would actually split, or because
Yeah,
the north stars have to go up and start circling the north, the south stars have to go south, circling the south, which is what the sun would do on this as well. Like when the sun is in the north, it would transition into going to the south. And so if
yeah,
it's circling the North Pole, at some point it needs to shift over the equator, which this animation kind of shows that idea of a dual pole, like it would have to shift, and then therefore there would be the separating place where the stars would potentially split. I mean, I'm not claiming that is I've never seen that obviously, but yeah, in theory, but that would only happen like way west or way east, if that is a thing. So yeah, if what you're talking about would have to be the case, yeah. But in terms of the convergence and divergence anywhere in that equator, it's pretty similar to what would happen if it were a globe.
I'll take it a step further and actually make a statement that I can back up, because I don't know what the sky is for sure, but if it had the same qualities as other things I can create optical illusions, we don't even know which way the rotation is. We don't know the shape of, let's say, the sun. We don't know the actual color of the sun, size, shape, position. I think that covers it. The direction that it's going. You can be fooled easily depending on what the sky and where the actual position of those lights would be according to due to your position or with your different positions on the ground looking up, especially if you're looking through certain things, you wouldn't know even
So,
the direction. It could be the
so
opposite direction.
you think I could look up at the sky and see a light in the sky that's actually coming from behind me?
Hold on, if you want to respond to that, Matthew, real quick, I just posted that image. See how they converge and diverge on a globe at the equator? But yeah, go ahead, guys. But it shows this on this little animation, which people like to post about showing that they think it's a globe or whatever.
Okay,
See how
thanks.
they
I'll take a look.
because it has to go from straight to going around one of the two poles, which is what you see half of each pole, north and south. Go ahead, Raki, if you want to respond.
She was responding.
Whereas on the globe model, doesn't no star, they just go around in circles, all of them. They're not doing like a corkscrew where they get closer and further away. All of them just do a circle by themselves.
And the
Like
angle
the
I don't
ancients,
think
changes.
that's why the
anyone's
ancients called it
disputing that it matches that model. Like I'm not, at least.
Looks like the angle of
the
changes.
celestial sphere. Like even
changes.
the ancients knew about the celestial sphere. It wasn't a
Yeah,
secret.
like I said again, we're not disputing that part of the model. I'm not, at least. Like you
Wouldn't
don't
there
have to
be
fight
angular?
for it. I think it actually works pretty good on y'all's model. But to
Wouldn't there
say it's
be an
perfect,
angular?
it's not. And to say that you know something, you can't, because I can show you simple demonstrations of, let's say, placing an arrow behind a glass of water, and the arrow looks like it's going in a different direction than it actually is.
Rakia,
It
wouldn't
looks
there
like
There's
it's
be?
coming from behind you, like the sun has to
yeah, I
be doing
mean,
with me.
yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, that's just a simple demonstration of an illusion. You can't know where the
But,
actual sun would be, even if it appears to be behind you. Is my
but that's only
point.
moved it by a couple of millimeters.
Wouldn't every star their angular position within respect to each other change? When we
I
measure
can't.
these stars, they don't, the angular position between these stars all over the sky, nothing ever changes.
I can't answer that. Neither could you, though. And that's the
I
only
can.
thing I'm trying to
We've
get
seen
people to
pictures.
admit.
We've measured it. Never
Yeah, no, I'm not
does the distance
denying that you
between
measured
stars
it
ever
accurately of what
change for
the
the angular distance
apparent
between
position
them.
of these stars would be. I'm not arguing that. Like I said, it works pretty well. Your measurements are good. Not. I'm just saying, if you're measuring the apparent position or where it is, it doesn't make it. It makes it our reality, but it doesn't make it a sphere reality, right? Like it could just
Well,
be
they would
presenting
converge and
itself like.
diverge they would converge and diverge if it's what you're saying is true.
Well, with perspective and with everything else, stars, like he was pointing out, do some strange things, especially at the equator where they're meeting, it seems.
No, even at
But
the
it
equator,
doesn't
they
mean
don't
it's a
change.
sphere again. It just means that model presents it in a good way.
They
Yeah,
don't
so
even at,
Rakia, what Zanick and I are claiming is that there's never been a case where two stars change their angular distance. They're the same exact distance all night long until one of them sets.
even at the
Yeah,
equator.
that's
Yeah, but
amazing. I'll give you that. Okay, amazing, right? Like awesome, amazing. Doesn't
yeah,
make it a sphere.
yeah. I mean, is anybody contesting that? Because
No,
if you met,
I'm not.
If you say that they converge and diverge, it sounds like you're contesting it.
Well, they appear to be. Like they appear to converge and diverge, like he was saying and explained very simply, doesn't mean they are. It just when they're coming at two different rotations, they would have to. Even you have to agree with that. Like I know when you
That's the point.
measure it,
They
maybe
don't.
they're not, but maybe it has to do with what y'all call the reference frame or
Do
perspective
with
or
the camera.
something unknown. But like I don't know how you're not agreeing with what
Well, I'll
what
tell you in a sec.
Rio is presenting.
What happens is when you have a camera that's just sitting there watching this, like if it's everything spinning around the North Pole, or everything spinning around the Southern Pole, or celestial pole, or
Yeah,
something at
both.
the equator, you see these divergence and convergence of these stars. But that doesn't happen in reality. That is perspective on the film. If you actually then have a stationary camera that matches the rotation, you'll see that these stars, the whole sky just rotates with the Earth. And even at the equator, the distance between the stars will never change. They'll always remain fixed. So they don't appear to be diverging and converging. They only do that with a certain picture due to perspective on the film.
Well, even in your model, I thought on the equator the sun sets in a straight line away from you, right?
well, it can set in a straight line away from you to the east and the west. I mean, setting in the west,
Yeah,
no matter where you are, up to a certain degrees north or south
but
latitude.
especially on the equator, you would see this at a certain time of year.
See
Why
what?
wouldn't the stars be doing that every night? Because it's basically the same patterns, just in different positions. But
They
that
do
Yeah,
do that every night.
view above the equator would be stars appearing to go in straight lines.
Yeah, they do that every night.
Well, that's what we're talking about,
The
isn't it?
stars that have a zero inclination, they do that every night.
Yeah. So the north of that would be one rotation. The right above you would be more of a straight line, and to the south of you would be a opposite rotation, which would give the apparent, divergent and convergent to that point.
but that's what
I,
we're
I
saying.
don't know why I'm talking about this. I mean, I don't think it's debatable. I think we're just maybe talking past each other. But
No, if you have a video
I guess
camera
my
that's
point is asking you, does that prove a sphere, or does that prove that it fits the model of a sphere?
It's both. Like, what's wrong with
Nothing
looking
wrong,
up at the sky to prove the shape of
nothing
the Earth?
wrong
Why
with it.
can't you
Like I
do that?
said, I did it all night last night.
Yeah, can I
Well,
here? This is directly from Stellarium, so this is there's no cameras involved or any fisheye lenses or anything. It is exactly what the sky does. It converges and diverges, even on a globe model. Now, whether it is an electric field, in terms of being above a, hold on, sorry, I was just grabbing this image 'cause I wanted to say this as well. So that right there kind of shows the geometries. You have the sphere in the middle. You have the azimuthal equidistant, like of the southern half of that ball, basically on the base level, and then on the vertical wall, you have like a stereographic projection of the sphere on the flat vertical wall, and essentially the sky looks like that vertical wall, meaning the stars are straight at the equator. You have the two rotations in the north and south, etc. And that's what, like, even that Stellarium one above there shows that partially as well. And Stellarium is, giving that direct representation. So whether you have
Can
a
I just hang on?
hold on, let me
Can
just
I just say it's
let me just finish
sorry.
what I'm saying. Let me finish just lastly. If you have a globe Earth with a sphere of stars surrounding it, that's one scenario. But you can also have a planar Earth with the stereographic projection of the spherical coordinates on the ceiling above that planar Earth. And it would look like similar to if you were on a globe, but it's actually those spherical coordinates, just like that vertical wall shows, above us, above a planar Earth.
I want to
go ahead.
say that
Go
that
ahead.
vertical wall doesn't represent what we see because that has a Pac-Man across the equator.
No, I would not say that. That's a separate topic. I would not say anything has to Pac-Man because you have two rotational fields and the stars are going. Now, it would be interesting to see what happens if you get all the way to the east or all the way to the west. I would agree there would have to be some, like, either phenomenon or something that's occurring all the way. But
But we
an
don't
electric
see.
Well, in that
field,
picture,
yeah.
I'd like to make a
there
quick comment.
there is no straight line on the equator, so you haven't even represented that straight line that we see that is on the celestial
Well, I
equator.
think what he's talking about is that in the time lapse, that looks like there's two swirls. They've actually brought the north and south poles together in the field of view, and therefore it will be this distorted convergence and divergence of the stars. But in actuality, Geo, so you would agree from that picture that you would say, well, at some point in the night, some point in this rotation over time, these stars diverge from each other, and angularly they are farther apart from each other. But in actuality, they never change their angular position from each other. But the perspective
Yeah,
of the
again, I'm
film
not
does.
claiming they would change their angular position. It's the actual field lines of the rotation of the sky. It's not, they would not be actually, I'm not claiming that they're converging or diverging physically. The field, the star, what's converging and diverging is the entire field from the north to the equator to the south, because you have two rotations, two circles, and then you have the straight at the equator. So it's the whole field is doing it. It's not individual stars that are separating from each other that I'm saying. Now, if you have this electrical dual pole thing above a planar Earth, though, something would have to happen all the way like at the far east or far west. So I do agree, like something would have to be occurring there because that's where, like, it is different when you wrap it around a ball. it wouldn't have that issue because the whole thing is surrounding a ball, so it's like kind of like cohesive in that way because it's a ball. So all those coordinates wrap all the way around, so you wouldn't have that issue. Whereas if you put this like 2-pole electric field circuit above a planar Earth, you would have to have a place because there's only, like on a ball, you have the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere and the equator. And then if you have stars surrounding it, it's all kind of cohesive in that way. So there wouldn't have to be anything like separating or any. But on a planar, if you have like a flat Earth and then you have a flat sky, let's just say, and if for the moment, and if the flat sky is that 2-pole, then yeah, like for example, when the sun does its rotation around the North Pole, it has to get to the equator and then it has to transition to the South Pole. So at some point, that sun has to go from circling Polaris to circling Sigma Octantis at one day of the year on the equinox when it crosses the equator, because having 2 poles on a planar Earth, that's the only option. Like if you have one sun and it's circling the north, and at some points it starts circling the south. Therefore, you would have to have a place where it separates, well, where the rotation of the stars. I mean, the sun wouldn't really have to split in that way, but it would have to, separate. So yeah, but with the stars, if you have the whole field of stars, they can only be going around the north or the south. And when you have the straight line at the equator, that means that conceivably there would have to be a place where the sky splits, which I'm not claiming is the case. I've never been there to see that, or like way out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean or something to that effect, but that is one of the differences. Sorry, Zanick, if I went on too long. Go ahead.
Well, I get your point. I'm just contending that anything you see that looks like this convergent divergent is going to be purely perspective for even for a flat or even a rotational or a round Earth. But if you look at the sky and you match the rotation on the surface of the Earth and just look at the sky move, it'll move with every star. Any celestial body in there would not change its position with respect to anything else besides planets and the sun. The only reason you see this divergent is because it's a perspective thing of the film.
Yeah, I mean, I do think a dual pole is a complex system, and if it really is a dual pole flat Earth, to me that would even be pretty mind blowing. I talk about it a lot because it's really the only thing that works with the sky. As far as I can see, and this is no offense to anyone who thinks the AE map is true, but I actually think that's just deception 2.0. I think the globe is deception 1.0 for the everyone, and then the kind of flat Earth. They try to link that term flat Earth to that kind of Gleason's map, and I know that not everyone sees it that way, and I'm not trying to obviously be offensive or tell anyone anything like that, but I'm just saying in my viewpoint, I'm saying I'm not trying to offend anyone if they think it is the AE map, but I mean, the AE map has, to me, just completely fatal issues with it. I mean, not only does it not match with the sky, but I mean, the distances in the south, and it would make sense to me that they would do a deception 2.0, that they would like try to get everyone on the globe, and then once people started realizing it was flat, they would try to link people to that AE map, and then maybe they would build it up to take people to Antarctica and show people there is a 24-hour sun there, and try to kill the whole flat Earth, as it were, because people are figuring out, hey, it's not a globe. It's like, well, hey, we have this second netting to catch you in. We have this, if you got through the globe netting, we got this second one, and that way, I think it's kind of cool that the globe folks have kind of tried to keep people honest about the things that don't work in the AE map. And it does also make more sense that if it's a dual pole flat Earth, then that's how they could convert it into a globe. In terms of being able to deceive humanity, it has 2 actual hemispheres and 2 regions that you could, say are a sphere or a globe.
Or it could
From
just
somewhere
be
in the
that it's a
south, how
globe
do
and
you navigate?
nobody's deceiving anybody. That's just what it is.
Like, how do you navigate if you don't have something, especially in the south where it's supposedly all out of kink, or at least on the edges of those 2 flat patches of Earth? Like, surely navigation would be near impossible if you had it completely wrong.
I'm not clear on what you're asking. You're saying with the dual pole, how would you navigate? I mean,
Yeah,
you
or
basically
or
have
how do we navigate now if we've got it wrong? Like
well, like
this wrong.
instead of
This isn't just a little bit wrong, it's really wrong.
How did
For
the
either of
Vikings
those.
navigate? How did the Vikings navigate?
instead of
Using the
having one,
stars
yeah. So the
and
stars all have
landing.
the stars all have a fixed GP on the ground. If you were to freeze frame the sky, because obviously it's moving every day, but if you were to take one freeze frame moment, like let's say 2 a.m. and you right then, and this every star would have a ground position. So it's like with the dual pole, it's like having the AE map in the north, but then instead of just stretching everything out and expanding it the way the AE map does, you just have the AE part of the north. It straightens at the equator, and then it goes to another AE map in the south, essentially. And you've seen some of those, like they're kind of implied to be a globe, but it's like two circles where they take the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, and they put it on like a wall hanging, like a painting or whatever, and it shows those two. You guys have probably seen the artwork and stuff that shows that. Well, essentially, it would just be like you have the northern hemisphere of the globe, the southern hemisphere of the globe, and you can make an AE map of the coordinates of either the northern hemisphere or the southern. They say it's on a ball, but those two circles or those two AEs can be on a planar surface. If you want to say the southern AE map, the northern AE map,
What about
and
this
then you would
picture?
just
If I just
and then you would
posted?
just you would navigate appropriately for whether you're in the north or south or on the equator in that same fashion.
Would you agree that you can only get from the north to the south in one small area if it was like that?
No, I mean you could get to the north or the south by transitioning over the equator, anywhere on the equator.
But you've got two halves of Earth, two circles of Earth. They're only going to join by a piece of water in between. So if I'm on the outside of either one of those, I'm going to go a long way to get
Is
to
this
the other side. If one of them's north and one of them's south.
but not to get
Just
too
to
far off?
Just to clarify what you're asking, so this is from Lady Blunt's book, Zetetic Astronomy, and she's showing the northern and the southern. Now, this is just a
Yes.
simple diagram. I don't think she is trying to say that I don't know what, she's trying to say they only meet, but that does show, she's trying to show the northern and southern 24-hour sun in the south and north. Now, I'm just posting that. Is that what you're trying to say, is that they would meet at 2
Yeah.
points if they were
Yeah.
perfect circles?
Yeah. So if I lived on the outside of the top one, like right at the top, and if I lived at the bottom of the one at the bottom, like crossing the celestial equator, well, I'd be in no man's land, so I'd have to come back around to where they touch each other and cross there.
Well, I would say like an electric field, like what I'm posting here, they would have to blend like a ferrocell, like the electric field lines, which we can replicate on Earth as well. So like that image there, it shows how you have the two circles, one on the right, one on the left, but those circles end up like an electric field. The field lines, I don't know what the right word is. That they blend, and then they transition. And that's like a vortex pattern. I mean, you can, like I've always said, you can take like a paddle and you drag it through water and you get the clockwise and counterclockwise rotation, and then same thing occurs. You get the vortex. It's like the way hurricanes work, and there's so many things in nature.
But if I'm on the outside of those circles, underneath the outside of those circles, do you see how there's such a long way for me to go to get from the north to the south? I mean, yes, I have to go under the celestial equator, but I have to go over the South Pole, over the celestial equator, or over the North Pole to get to some piece of land on the other side. If I was, in the middle.
Before you get too far, because the picture is going to be buried in the depth of time here. If you look at what I posted, both of you guys, if you're looking at it, this, you have to admit it looks like a snapshot. That Milky Way galaxy and all the stars are absolutely not moving at all. Yet the Earth is able to rotate, and then because this is actually photography. So if what you say is true,
These are okay. Yeah. Wait, the one you posted at 59 after? I'm not laughing at your image. I always find these funny though when they use
equatorial mount.
Equatorial mount to make it look to basically have it stick on the sky. I mean, that's not really okay. I mean, you're trying to say that's the Earth rotating, or what is your point?
Well, I mean, it just happen to rotate your camera, and everything in the sky is completely and utterly fixed. All the things you're talking about with fields and counter rotations, and Rocky was talking convergence, divergence, All that completely goes away with a simple test of moving the camera at the rotation rate of the presupposed sphere ball Earth.
So that's not showing the motion of the actual stars, though. It's showing like, is that a time lapse taken at the same time every day?
No, it's actually taken over 24. There's one below it is even better because it basically shows the Earth going from daylight to nighttime, and with the Earth rotating completely one revolution above it from morning till night.
Think if that was actually happening, if the land was actually going upside down and around like that.
Well, that's
I
what
know
it shows.
it's the globe belief. I get it, but it's
No.
funny.
I mean, let's say I don't know anything about flat Earth or round Earth. I just happen to have my camera and I did this. And when it's at nighttime, this rotational rate captures this image of all the stars out there, clouds of it looks like the galaxy, the Milky Way, and it doesn't nothing. The angular position of every star does not change. All that's changing is the land looks like it's flipping upside down over 24
Yeah,
hours.
so Geo, I think what he's saying is that there's no convergence and divergence. Even if you're a geocentrist that says the Earth is rock solid, steady, still not rotating, if you move your camera in lockstep with the stars, you'll see that none of them are changing positions.
Okay,
I mean,
never
really,
said
it's a
they were
cool
changing.
video. I mean, right?
They're not converging or diverging
It's
either.
like a solid picture of this backdrop of these stars, and they're not moving. I mean, you gotta. It's not even a smear or a blur or anything, right?
It's beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Not true though, because the ground is moving below you, right? But yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, below you, in what
Yeah, I
sense?
mean,
No, it's not
see
really
how-
below
see
you
how
because the
these
camera's
stars-
actually still on the ground.
See how these stars in the south, that massive rotation, which are all moving? The star field has to transition from that circle to straight at the equator and then a completely opposite rotating circle in the north.
But what I'm saying is that
There has to be a convergence and divergence effect. Not that individual stars are splitting from each other, but that the whole field has that effect. And it would on a globe too, if it was a globe. Ooh, a new perspective just dropped.
No, but on a globe, it wouldn't have to have any convergence or divergence at all.
Did you respond to the one? I didn't see if you did.
What you just posted, the 1105 one?
I'm looking at 1101.
No, I'm reposting the one that shows the kind of like geocentric, close and local stars on a globe. But it's people that believe in the globe claim this is the same as if the stars were light years away because it's like irrelevant. But anyways, leave the close and local out of it. You see the convergence and divergence at the equator.
Picture putting a camera. Oh, I mean, you can do some tests to see if that's true or not by doing what was done in that one thing I posted.
So you
So
did?
we're
Do
just
you
gonna match
disagree with
rotation
this animation? Do you disagree with it? Because when you go to the equator point, you can see the straight line in the center, but when you look to the left or right, you see the rotation, which is what it would be if it was a globe. When you look left and right, because this the star to go from going straight at the equator to going, in the north circling around the North Pole, and in the south circling around the South Pole. So it's not that the individual stars right at the equator are somehow splitting. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the whole field from left to right is going to have that effect and does.
And if you look at New Perspectives one, just above yours, he's got the celestial rotations squashed. That's not what we see. We see them doing perfect circles, not this peanut oval shape.
That's not true. You see it even more squashed. You see less of the sky than what he's showing there. So it's actually the opposite of what you're saying. You see a more squashed version when you look up in the sky.
How many star trails have you done? I've got over 70. That's not
You
what
don't
you
want to
see. You
adjust
don't
it.
see it
You want to
squashing.
just go to attack. I mean, those tactics used to work, but
Look
they
at that,
just don't
Gio. That is
anymore.
crazy, right? That actually
Nice
is
try,
representative. Sorry, Rekia. Gio, that's representative of what we actually see if we do a time lapse with a camera that's fixed. And I would agree with you. And then you extrapolate it and have this GIF of the ball with the kind of a low altitude, compilation of all the stars and how they would look. But you can test for that by doing what I did or what was done by the camera actually matching rotation and seeing how the sky is totally fixed. If you did that with this globe with the green stars all rotating around, you couldn't do the video that I posted. It wouldn't work. because they're not rotating around us like that. If that makes any sense. You really have to fight the urge to say this is what it looks like when you know that it's perspective of the camera. Like panorama, you do panoramic things in your phone. Like I want to do a panorama, you do a full 360, but the picture comes out flat on 2D, and it's all distorted based on it taking something that's all the way around you 360 and putting it on a flat plane. It's hard to describe.
Happens in your eyes as well every day.
That's
every
why I
morning.
put the video there, because it shows exactly what we do see and how it looks like a still picture and all the stars, nothing moves, yet the ground is going upside down over a 24-hour period. And you can see this daylight and the nighttime and everything in between.
Yeah, but that's
wow,
just inverting it by making the camera move. We know the Earth is not moving and the sky is what moves, like empirically. Now, I know that you would believe differently or say differently, but if you just make the camera rotate, you're just inverting it. Someone did that. Actually, Chad did that. He took his camera, like looking at his computer screen, and he rotated it. And he's like, "Look, the Earth is rotating." So I mean, just because you're rotating something and you change the frame of it, because what actually is occurring from what we observe is the sky is moving.
that's interesting. You could actually do the same test. You can do this. You can have things that are moving in your room and try to match the rotation with the camera, and you'll see it will not look like what I'm showing. That's the point. It shows that can't be the case, because if you did match the rotation with the camera and show, my computer's turning upside down. No, you have something that's moving around you, a bunch of things, and see what the angular distance between them does as you rotate the camera, and you'll see it will not match. It won't work. But in the other case I showed, it did work. It made it just like a picture. That sky was a picture, and we saw it, and we didn't see it, but it just stayed in position. Only thing changing was the rotational rate of the camera matching due to the equatorial mount rotation. Kind of, it's a mind-bending thing to try to grasp, but I think if you really look into it, you'll see that the green ball with the green stripes of all the stars at a low altitude above the surface would not work if you were to mount a camera on that surface and videotaped stars that are rotating around you. That you wouldn't see the same video.
I mean, I think maybe the term it's like the field is what's converging and diverging, since you have two poles of rotation rather than the individual stars. But the stars are part of the field.
You're saying we can't replicate this, Zanick?
Did you hear anchovy, Zanick?
Oh, to me, no, they can't replicate that. You can't replicate that model with stars at some low altitude around you that have all the constellations like the dome, and have the dome rotate and do what I posted, do what I did in that post to that scenario, whether it be simulated or not. You will not get the stars being a picture of all the stars, angular position of everything not moving at all, yet you're rotating the camera and not
You
the
forget
stars.
one thing.
Aren't
You
you just
forget one
matching the
thing.
camera to the stars?
I think Zanick is forgetting one thing though, like the ratio. Like the ratio from your observer height to looking at the stars in the heaven above, compared to any ceiling that you can possibly imagine on Earth with light bulbs on it. The ratio between the distance between you and the light is so far away from the correct ratio that you can't even compare.
Oh, I have to put it a different way then. Yeah, that I agree with that. If they're actually, let's say we used all the distances that we do know now today. These vast distances to all the stars, even the sun. We still wouldn't be able to simulate what we're seeing by having a equatorial mount camera, because it wouldn't work perspectively right. Or would it? Maybe it would. Maybe the only point would be then they can't be close like that, or anything resembling close to the Earth. Let me think about that. Let me think, if you had all the stars and all of them did rotate around us, would the equatorial mount work? Maybe. Let me think.
So that's what I was saying, that you're
Yeah.
comparing the lights in the ceiling when it's a really bad comparison. So, and you're saying, oh, it can't be done. Look at the lights on the ceiling. So I don't know. You might have to backtrack that statement.
Yeah, I might have to think about whether if the stars were infinitely far, would this still be the case for the equatorial mountain? And maybe you were right in that case. But then again, then we're not having stars that are in some dome. They're infinitely far away for all practical purposes, and that kind of blows a hole in that part of the theory.
Well, nobody's arguing for the dome, but if you're going to assume that, are you saying dome as in the star field above us?
If the dome is a star field, I don't believe the equatorial mount camera will work.
Yeah, it would do the same. It would be similar. I mean, you can just fix it to the sky.
Well,
to the stars.
because you'd have distances of the stars being 3,000 miles high based on just trigonometry. So if they were right,
Dude, I will say I know people, if people want to well, we're in a chill mood right now, so it's not really like too contentious. And because the thing is, dude, like people want to obviously like defend their viewpoint, and then gets into debating and stuff. But like if we think about just what is the truth, like what the actual truth is, if we're not on a sphere, then we're just not on a sphere. And trying to explain it a million ways from Sunday of it being a sphere will just never work. And I know that that's the contention of what people will think, but like it's like you could be in defense court for the rest of your life trying to defend a sphere, but if it just isn't one, then now if you think it is, that's fine too. But I guess what I'm getting at is like I'm open to a lot of ideas of how the sky can be working. And I know people want to mock it and say, oh, magic and stuff, but I'm not really invoking any magic. I think there are like consistent GPs, but like two concepts I'll bring in. One of them, lenticular lens. A lenticular lens. I think it's possible the sky could have some lenticular effect to it. And then also like lenticular lenses, like those like things where you can tilt it one way or another and it looks like Superman, and then you tilt it and it looks like Batman, and you tilt it back and forth and it like changes. It's because the light only allows you to see a certain part of the image depending on what angle you're at. I don't know if this is the time to go into all this, but I also think there could be a holographic nature to the sky as well.
I'm actually kind of trying to steel man your position in a way, and I won't go off on after this, after I make this statement, because other people want to talk. But I'm thinking maybe you're kind of right in a way. I mean, let's say, but I think you have to think about one other factor that you guys probably haven't considered. If you're going to say that the sky with all these lights is above us and it is rotating, we're fixed, then they have to fall. And we are saying we are on a round Earth, but you're saying we're on a flat Earth. Then all these objects have to be much closer to us. Well, much closer than we think, but much farther away than you guys have kind of pointed out. Like they can't be 3,000 miles.
Well, I don't know that they're even physical things that are any particular distance. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're going to get into some debate thing, because we're almost like speculating more about the sky. But I'm just saying myself, I'm not convinced that they are like I know people get into like a parent position and all of that, but like the idea, like if you just had light bulbs on your ceiling, then yeah, those are at a particular position. I'm not convinced that the stars or the sun are the same as just light bulbs in a big room. You know what I'm saying? Like there might actually be, yeah,
I'm
like
pretty clear with your position now. I think I get what you're saying, and it's kind of like the this lens or whatever this is, a ferrule lens or ferrule cell that the space can be made out of, is making things appear certain places.
Yeah, right. Like I'm not going to try to get like if this was some heated debate thing and people would throw out, you don't have proof of that, but I'm not saying I do. So of what I'm talking about now, I'm just saying I'm open to what different ideas of what the sky might be. Meaning it might not just be like fixed balls up there or just fixed things, and oh yeah, they're 4,000 miles up and that's just it, and they're just going around a flat plane. Like it may not be that simple. And if the conversation was in a spot where we're just like being chill and listening to each other's thoughts, because I mean, none of us have been to the sky to touch or measure any of that stuff. You can trust NASA that they've probed things, but that's a whole different deal if one wants to do that. But we're all just on Earth looking at the sky. So like none of us have been able to do that. Of course, NASA claims to have, but they're like the only ones and they're run by the government and whatever else. So it depends on whether you want to go with that. But I mean, dude, I think it is possible that it could have a lenticular effect and a holographic effect, and still have consistent GPs and still work very consistently, but will appear, depending on your position, in a way unique to you. It doesn't mean that they're just randomly apparent showing up wherever they want, because they're like a consistent grid system. But I mean, when you get into like possibly like super fluid, like the way light works, also like not to take it to the Bible, but the Bible talks about like a crystalline, kind of structure to it, which invokes potentially reflective or some kind of luminous qualities that could be involved in this too. Like crystalline kind of implies that lenticular potential as well. And again, it doesn't just mean the sky is just like some TV screen that just reflects whatever it wants. I mean, there's still, as far as I know, are consistent ground positions for all these objects. So it is a grid system, but at the same time, it might not just be that these things are just fixed balls in a fluid up there or something as simple as that. It could be more complex than that.
Gio, doesn't the whole idea of the uniformity of nature, though, like, doesn't the idea that, like, okay, well, we have our own sun and there could be similar objects far away, like, that doesn't
Gio?
seem like logical to you, like the whole uniformity of nature, that nature doesn't make one of anything?
Well, I have a serious question for Gio, though. Gio, are you really attached to this flat thing? What if it is a ball? Could you accept that it's a ball, and maybe the heavens are like you say they are, and they're just this big, huge dome, or there's big apparent lights, or whatever they are, and they're super far away, and they all rotate around us. But we have to go with the roundness because the angles just don't match up. Even if they're far away, it doesn't make sense because of the angles that we are measuring these apparent lights. Could you detach yourself from the? I'm just asking, as just like in conversation. Could you ever say, you know what? Maybe it could be round, and everything, and the heavens still rotate around us. Could that be?
Okay, well, Jake said one thing. I would have to if Jake was asking me, I'd have to clarify what he meant by that exactly. But Zanick, just respond to what you said there. I mean, dude, even through the TFE thing to me is not really that different because you already have the Southern Stars anyways, but it is cool to get more footage from there and so on. But even with all of that occurring just in the community and everything, and then people splitting off in different viewpoints, and then, the AE map having, I think it already had very fatal issues, but maybe those fatal issues have just come more to the surface with the 24-hour sun in the south, because it obviously implies a whole additional thing that maybe if there wasn't a 24-hour sun there, then it would obviously, be more viable. But with all that somewhat set aside, I'm just saying that to preface that even with all of that, and then obviously like everybody, Jaren, I guess, is kind of Jaren kind of flipped or whatever, but he, because of the issues with the AE map. But sorry, it's kind of a long way of answering, dude, but like
No?
there's just zero
No?
there's zero part of me that thinks the Earth is a globe, like resonates on any level. Now, I haven't measured the whole thing. I'm not claiming I have all knowledge, but like my sense of what creation is, as it were, what consciousness is, what this realm is, everything I've seen and everything I've been able to do. Obviously, I don't have all knowledge in the world, but if you're asking me, like, is there any part of me that, because I know what you're saying, like, oh, if it was a globe, then you could have a stationary geocentric globe, and then you could have the stars around it or whatever. I get all of those ideas. Sorry if that was kind of
all these objections you have, and all these these conspiracy things, and NASA's the moon's not real, the sun's not real. It's all just stuff that NASA's programmed it. But we at least all the math and geometry works in my mind, and I'm thinking you're attached to the flat. I'm absolutely not going round. I was asking if you could maybe go round if all these other things that really are probably the predominant issues that you have with the stars are not what we think they are, the sun's not what we think it is, the moon isn't what we think it is, and they're all just these lights and we can have some super fluid out there, all the things that Racky was talking about. That all could happen, and all of it's conspiracy, and the government's trying to program us. That you can have everything, but then we can all be on the same page. At least the angles all work, because it's got to be round. But you're not going to let go of that. So I guess we're not going to ever see Geo talking about a round Earth. Okay, that's why I asked. I just wanted to know. Curious.
Well, but the ground doesn't have the curvature, so we could get to that if we want to, like in terms of that part. Like that's a fatal problem for the globe. It's just the curvature isn't there. I don't think there's anything that shows Earth is moving either. But if you're talking about angles to the sky, yeah, I hear you that it has a spherical quality to it. There's no question that's why they've called it the celestial sphere. But like, dude, if you were the creator and you could do anything you wanted, and you were going to make this huge flat plane, would you just be like, I guess I'll just pop some stars on a flat plane up there and call it a day, like pop some lights in the ceiling? Or would you do something more, magical, and I mean, I know people don't like the term magical because they use it for mocking, but I actually mean it in the sense of like inspiration and profundity. I mean, I think everything's magical. The fact that all of our hearts are beating and we're talking through some instantaneous internet fiber optic, that's all magical. Like, it's incredible.
Unbelievable. I agree. Totally agree with you.
So if
I'm just fantastical, actually, and we're here. And we've
I hate to
evolved or
bring
not
up the
evolved. Either way,
Bible.
it's amazing, right? Yeah, I agree.
I hate to be that Bible thumper, but oh, by the way, God mentions that the sky is His domain and it's for our wonder and amazement, right? It's proof of that we're not the knower and that He's more intelligent, basically. So I hate to bring it up, but there it
I
is.
know. And I
It's
didn't want to
also
stop
like-
Jake. Jake had a question. Jake, I'm sorry to cut you off with a different change or backtrack, but did you want to reiterate your question, Jake? So I was interested
Well,
in
hold
what you
on.
said.
Well, if we want to go back, well, hold on. If Jake wants to in a minute, but let me just respond what Rakia said. So the idea that the heavens are above as well, and I just say heavens. I'm not really even talking about that in a biblical sense. I'm just using that term. I mean, there's the idea of spirit worlds or what heaven might be, but it's like the stars are like the transition between the earthly realm and the heavenly realm, whatever that is, the beyond. And of course the Glob model claims that these are stars out there and they know what it is and it's expanding and it's all a vacuum. So they're the ones kind of claiming they know what it is and that they've probed it and whatever. But if the stars are actually like the transition from this physical, what we call 3D world to, I'll just say the beyond, the heavens, whatever the beyond is, it could be anything, then the stars don't necessarily have to match what the physical 3D world is. Like, just because you can put lights on your ceiling in your house, but we're in the physical corporeal world, whatever those stars are, if they're of a heavenly or, beyond our comprehension realm, then Zanick, for example, it could be the case. I know what you're saying about the angles. I was saying no curvature, but just to respond, you were saying the angles. I hear what you're saying to the sky. The sky does seem to have like a hemispherically dome effect to it, or like a half of a sphere wherever you are. Now, I'm not saying that the whole thing is a huge like hemispherical dome, like over a flat. I'm not using that. I'm just saying the way we see the world is in this like 360 degree or I mean, 180 degree kind of hemispherical fashion. And the stars all seem to work as if they were all like at a fixed radius. Meaning they don't because if you had just lights on your ceiling and you walked away with them, you'd get all these like slanted effects. And it wouldn't work that way if you just had flat stars above a flat earth like that simply. So I hear you, there's more to it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I know that, it's in the realm of speculation, but could the sky have like a superfluid, holographic, lenticular, some kind of effect to where it actually, no matter where you are, it appears as a hemispherical dome of stars, where it almost is like all the radiuses are equal, which is kind of what is sort of explained on the Globe model, because they claim that they're light years away, so they're all kind of at a quote unquote infinite distance. But could it be actually functioning that way? And it all correlates with the GPs and the two rotations and all of that as well. And that would actually solve the angles. But I do hear you. For that to be the case, though, you couldn't really just say that the stars are just like on a flat plane in the ceiling as if they're just like light bulbs up there. So I do hear what you're saying about the angles and about some of these issues that come in with the sky. And in a way, you could say those are compelling for the Earth being a sphere. And I understand that argument. That's why a lot of people say the sky is one of the strongest arguments for the sphere, because it seems to function like a sphere. So if you have a spherically functioning thing above a flat Earth, how does that quite work? It does bring in more complexity, more questions how that's functioning. But the fact that it functions like a sphere, fits into the sphere model, doesn't mean the Earth is a sphere, but it does fit, and that's how they've been able to basically build the whole models based off that.
I just want to say that I think everybody should just look it up on like Wikipedia. It'll tell you that it's a concept. And they always say, the sphere, right? The celestial sphere, but space is flat. So that ought to tell you right there that it's a concept. Like, it's just a concept, and it's a very useful concept, but it's still just a concept nevertheless.
You don't
because there's
understand
not
and
actually
refraction.
there's not a sphere around us. It's because the Earth turns that you get the celestial sphere.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
all
but
motion is
when
relative, I could just say that, the universe turns.
the celestial sphere is not a thing, all right? It's just a way of determining which way you're pointing. It's a pointing system, all right? When Geo said, oh, they're all the same distance, no. When you're a flat earther, Geo, saying, oh, the stars appear like a hemisphere, how are you determining that they're equal distance away? They're just points.
I wasn't saying they are. I wasn't saying they are. I said they function that way in terms of the angles and the way that they function. Like if you were in like a planetarium and the dome of the planetarium physically is above you, and then you put all the stars on it. I'm not saying that we live in a planetarium per se, but that's how you replicate the sky is with a fixed dome, which is a fixed radius from your position. Like if you're in the center of the planetarium. So the stars function that way. I'm not saying they are a fixed distance, like in physical reality. I'm not even convinced that they are physical things that have a particular distance. Like I was saying, they actually may be like. Well, go ahead.
If you're in a planetarium that only shows you a dome of sky,
far away. Sorry.
Then it's only showing you half the sky. If you're in a dome of stars, otherwise the southern hemisphere stars are going to be distorted.
Well, yeah, it's like you like the idea of like a local hemisphere, which could be a subset within a much larger. I mean, if the whole sky is a hemisphere, like on the whole thing, like if you were to see the whole thing, of course you can only, you have nighttime and daylight, so you're not gonna be able to ever do that. But if there is a massive, massive dome surrounding us, the whole thing, you wouldn't be able to see that whole thing. So you would be seeing your own local perception of that, a small piece of that larger field.
So anytime you go into one of those things, you're not seeing the whole sky because it's only showing you half of it.
Like a dome within a dome. It's kind of interesting. We have like the dome of our heads, and we have like a little dome of our head, and then we have the field of stars above us. That's kind of like a dome, like a planetarium represents.
So do you mean a spherical dome or a hemisphere, half a sphere dome?
Half a sphere, yeah. I don't think anything about the stars go under our feet ever. So, yeah, that's how it's observed.
But that's not going to represent the sky. Where are the southern stars? You only got the northern ones. Where are the southern ones?
They're in the south.
Well, but you just said the planetarium represents. So it's not going to show you the whole sky at once if it's only showing you a dome.
No, a planetarium doesn't show the whole sky at once. It only shows like a particular coordinate, like latitude, longitude, position of the larger. I mean, in theory, if you took like hundreds of planetariums or thousands or whatever, and you put them in a field, you might be able to like replicate the whole sky by putting a slightly different, image of the stars. You might be able to do it with like 30 of them. Really, you might not need hundreds.
You'd only need two, wouldn't you? One from the north and one from the
Two
south.
hemispheres.
Why would you need 30?
If you
half the stars, Geo, you can't see.
If you wanted to represent the whole thing, yeah, you could do it too. Technically, if you size it, if you did the sizing that way, but you'd have to find positions where you're seeing exactly half. So maybe on the equator, if you were to do that.
Wherever you are, doesn't matter. There are always half the stars in the sky that you cannot see.
I would call that perspective from location.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at, the time of year, and the sun path, and all that. Yeah.
Reference frames.
Are we still doing just right? But are we still just throwing the word perspective out there as if it explains it? Is that we're still in 2015?
No, I'm talking about actual perspective. You as the individual, what you see when you look up. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yep. How does that explain half the stars not visible?
Because where you're standing at is occluded. It's pretty
By
simple.
what?
Well, that's not a perspective. That's occlusion. Not two different things.
Okay.
I agree. They're occluded by the fucking Earth.
By day, the big blue luminary in the sky that we call the blue sky.
Nighttime, Geo.
Do you think that an observatory do you think that an observatory is actually representative of what we actually see in the sky in reality?
I mean
an observatory with telescopes? Yes.
Yeah, like
planetarium?
one of those. Planetarium dome. Yeah, is that representative? Like correct? Is that correct?
Oh, not quite. No.
It's kind of ratioed. It's kind of really shrunk down, really small, so that you can see everything that you would if you were able to be on one side of, or like on opposite sides of the Earth at the same time. Yeah, like I mean, within the same hemisphere, like totally
You
opposite
can't.
sides of the equator. Yeah.
Problem with that, the distances are all wrong. Like your star that sets above seat, 150b, and you're in the center of the auditorium, and you look at what's the distance to that? He's 20 feet away, yet those stars should be, you know, trillions and trillions of miles away. Now they should only be technically like 3,000 feet high or something, which you can dispute that because you have planes that are flying higher than that. Then you would be seeing the stars below you.
So the way that they've squished them all into this thing so they can actually visually see them all, it's really the ratio there is really off.
Yeah,
Tremendous.
but planetariums tend not to concentrate on the stars. Like it's in the name, they're concentrated on the solar system.
Well, they represent the sky.
Sure, they give you a model of the solar system. That's the ones I've been to, at least.
Well, maybe in the
planetarium.
In the modern era, they maybe try to dress them up and do animations, depending on if you've been at one that's like all like LCD screen kind of setup, or the like LED ones and so on that are like the Sphere in Vegas kind of technology. But I mean, a planetarium in and of itself represents essentially the celestial sphere, which is a hemispherical dome that you observe, and it represents the stars, the sun, the moon, wandering stars, all that. I mean, if you're in a place like if you're in Hawaii and you go walk into a side of a planetarium and you plug in your coordinates of where the planetarium is, you can go in the planetarium, walk outside, go back in the planetarium, walk outside, and it's going to look virtually the same. So
Wow,
I mean,
it's so loud here, man.
The
We've got
planetarium is
Metallica playing live right now here.
The planetarium is a hemispherical dome, and the stars are also viewed as a hemispherical dome.
No, they're not.
So you don't need
spherical.
You don't need a globe to represent the sky at all. You don't need it. You can do it.
Celestial sphere is not a hemisphere.
You can represent any position on Earth with a hemisphere of where of our view of what the sky looks like without a globe.
You want to get fantastic.
No globe required.
I think what he's saying, Rufy, is that if you had, let's say we had a really super high tech, like the Sphere in Las Vegas, except we had everyone's sitting in the middle of the hemisphere, like the equatorial plane that's in the middle of this ball. We're all sitting on it, and the sphere is surrounding, even underneath us. So we're gonna get day and night. They're gonna try to simulate the entire experience that we have on the Earth, but we're gonna be viewing it from the center of the Earth and out to the edges of the Earth.
Yeah, but that's not a hemisphere. That's a sphere.
How is that linked to anything I said, though? Are you just saying your own thing?
I'm just trying to show that if you were on top of those hemispherical, maybe I just said it wrong. There would be maybe a sphere around us. There's all the stars, and we're on the surface at some point, and we're looking at it all around us, even underneath us, where we can't see it because it's beyond the candy machine that's outside of this, where we're all sitting. But it still is underneath us, and as this whole thing rotates around us, it shows us what we would see like we're outside. I'm kind of telling. Telling a story that you've told, but kind of putting it in a planetarium form.
Well, a planetarium doesn't have anything beneath the ground. Now, Stellarium, if you pull up Stellarium, you can turn off the ground layer and you can see what they claim. They claim that the celestial sphere, when you have the two poles, is an actual sphere surrounding a sphere Earth. Now, Ruhiv came in here with the debate guns flaring, but we weren't really in debate mode. But so if that isn't the truth, that we're not on a sphere, then the stars would not be going under our feet. And what I was saying is that you can replicate the positions of the stars with a planetarium anywhere on Earth, and you can do that with a hemispherical dome. So I'm just saying you don't need a sphere to replicate or model what the sky is doing at all.
But you're only seeing half the stars.
The idea that they're going under your feet and around a sphere, I think, is a conceptual concept that they've assumed is happening or added, or because it kind of goes with the globe Earth idea, as that's how it would have to be. So it goes
How
with
do you get a
Saying
second rotation on a dome, on a hemisphere dome? How do you get all the stars on